Tonight, you might place your baby in their own room. A clean crib, soft bedding, a small baby monitor glowing beside the bed, the door gently closed, the house quiet. And to you, this may feel completely normal. But for almost all of human history, a baby sleeping alone away from every adult body would not have been seen as normal. It would have been dangerous. There was no crib, no monitor, no phone, no doctor to call in the middle of the night. There was only darkness, cold air, and a world full of animals that could detect a newborn long before a human ever saw them coming. For more than 300,000 years, every human parent faced the same brutal question. How do you keep alive a creature that cannot protect itself in any way? Because human babies are not just fragile. They are among the most helpless newborns in the animal kingdom. To understand why, you have to start with the baby itself. A newborn horse can stand and walk within hours. A newborn chimpanzee can grab onto its mother's fur almost immediately and cling to her body. But a newborn human cannot even support its own head. It cannot run. It cannot crawl. It cannot feed itself. It cannot stay warm by itself. It cannot survive one night without another person protecting it. Among primates, human babies are born unusually unfinished. This was not a mistake. It was the cost of becoming human. We gained the most powerful brain on Earth, but we paid for it with the most dependent infant on Earth. A baby that could not hold on, a baby that could not escape, a baby that cried loudly when danger was near. In a world of predators, cold nights, disease, hunger, and no modern medicine, a newborn was not only precious, a newborn was vulnerable in every possible way. So how did humans survive? The answer is something modern society has almost forgotten. They did not raise babies alone. In human groups, the baby was not only the mother's responsibility. The baby belonged to a network of care. A father, a grandmother, an aunt, an older sibling, a neighbor, another woman in the group. These people were not optional extras. They were part of the survival system. Anthropologists describe humans as cooperative breeders. That means children were not raised by one isolated mother doing everything by herself. They were raised by a group, not because it was cute, not because it was a parenting style, but because without help, human babies were too expensive, too fragile, and too demanding to survive reliably. A baby needed more energy, more protection, more carrying, more feeding, and more attention than one person could always provide. And when researchers look at hunter-gatherer communities, the difference is striking. In some groups, babies are passed from one person to another throughout the day. The baby was rarely alone. The baby was rarely placed far away. The baby was constantly near a body, a voice, a smell, a heartbeat. And there was a reason for that. A baby left on the ground was a baby exposed to danger. When early humans became bipedal, they lost much of the body hair that other primate infants used to cling to their mothers. A chimpanzee baby can hold onto fur. A human baby has almost nothing to grip. So human mothers and caregivers had to carry babies constantly. Hour after hour, day after day, month after month. They used hides, fibers, cloth-like materials, and anything that could keep a child attached to an adult body. Carrying was not just a way to move a baby, it was survival technology. And when a human infant is picked up and held close, something happens inside its body. The heart rate can slow, the breathing can settle, the crying may stop. Scientists call this a transport response. It is an ancient biological reaction built into the nervous system. In the wild, a crying baby could attract predators. A baby that becomes quiet when carried has a better chance of surviving. So when a newborn screams, then suddenly calms when pressed against your chest, that is not just comfort. It is an old survival program still running. But carrying a baby was only one part of the problem. The next problem was feeding. And the way ancient humans fed babies would shock many modern parents. For most of human history, breastfeeding did not last a few weeks or a few months. It often lasted years. 2 years, 3 years, sometimes even longer. This was not about preference, and when milk was no longer enough, humans still did not have baby food. No jars, no soft cereal, no blenders, no clean spoons, so they used something much older. An adult would chew food first, soften it, break it down, mix it with saliva, and then transfer it to the baby's mouth. Then there is another part of the story that many people never think about. Grandmothers. In most species, once an animal can no longer reproduce, there is little evolutionary reason for it to live much longer. But human women can live for decades after menopause. One explanation is called the grandmother hypothesis. Older women could gather food, dig up tough roots, collect resources, and help feed grandchildren. They could care for older children while mothers protected and fed younger babies. And because grandmothers helped, more children survived. And this brings us to the part that should make every modern parent pause. For almost all of human history, no one was expected to raise a child alone. Not one mother isolated in one home, not one exhausted parent awake at 3 a.m. with no one nearby. There was always a group, always hands to pass the baby to, always someone close enough to help. The loneliness of modern parenting is not proof that parents are weak. The exhaustion is not a personal failure. It is the result of asking one or two people to do the work that once belonged to an entire network. Your body, your brain, and your baby were shaped by a world where care was shared, where children slept near other bodies, where babies were carried constantly, where feeding, protecting, soothing and watching were not the job of one person alone. For 300,000 years, the question was never, can one person raise a child by themselves? The real question was, are there enough people around this baby to keep it alive? And for generation after generation, there were. That is why humans survived, not because one parent did everything perfectly, but because enough people cared enough to share the weight. And that is the part modern parenting has forgotten.